Hello Ratbags, it's your girl Kaya and welcome back to another ARC video. Today we have patches for not only PC but Xbox and PS4 and we're going to be going over them because there is a lot to cover and there's just a lot to do, so let's talk about these ARC patch notes. Remember, if you want to check me out on my own channel, look up Kaya on Fire, and you can check out my own videos. I do things like Conan videos and guides, etc. But let's get into the video. So the Excellent Adventure has come to a close. That was the Easter event, if you didn't know what that was. Basically, that means you're not going to get the coloured dinos anymore, the really high rates, or the skins that you got from this event, so that's all closed off now. But instead they have enabled the 2x harvest, breeding, XP and taming across all console and PC. So it's all back to normal now, and they have implemented some bug fixes in here. They've nerfed a few things, reduced a few things, and fixed quite a few exploits actually, which is quite interesting. So I'm first going to go over the PC patch notes, and then I'm going to be going over the combined Xbox and PS4 patch notes, because these are pretty much exactly the same, so we'll be going over those in a minute. So with the new actual cruise missiles launched in Genesis, they have fixed a bug which caused them to detonate on the player firing. To me that sounds pretty terrifying, just shooting a big cruise missile and a boom in your face. So I'm quite glad they fixed that bug, because that's pretty crazy of a bug, not gonna lie. So they have fixed that bug, and then the next bug fix they've done, they have prevented mechs from attacking structures. So you'll no longer be able to attack structures with a mech through this. They have also fixed an exploit with the Rock Drake, although I'm not exactly sure which exploit that is, but that has been patched. So if you've been exploiting the Rock Drake, then that will probably be patched unless you found another exploit. They have also fixed multiple level design issues related to holes, floating foliage, volumes, and lighting. As we know with Genesis when it came along, we had a lot of map holes and problems that way, so I'm hoping most of those have been patched up nicely, because in the Genesis Ocean there is actually two actual massive mesh holes in there, so I'm hoping this has been included in this patch note as well, because that's pretty crazy. They have also, thankfully, fixed multiple server crashes and server stalls, so people with server issues, this one's for you. Next on the list, they have fixed a bug with certain creatures attacking through structure walls. Again, they don't list these creatures, but if you were able to attack through walls with creatures, or you're having a problem with wild creatures, then this has also been fixed. They have reduced the giant turtle's bubble blowing attack when above ground. So this is when you have the turtle on land, so that has been reduced now with its bubble blowing attack, so bear that in mind when you're using giant turtles. They have also marked Valgyro's ice golem and chalk golem as unable to transfer, so if you want to move those golems across to a different cluster, then you are not able to anymore and they have to stay on Valgyro. So make sure you don't take these to the terminal or spend the effort getting them there, because you will not be able to make them go across. And also with Valgyro, they have switched the Ice Wyvern class to the Ragnarok Ice Wyvern instead. You won't really notice a change here, so you don't really need to worry about that one. They have also fixed an exploit that allowed mission creatures to be used in unintended ways. So if you're using creatures in naughty ways, then they have fixed an exploit with that. Added additional kill volumes to unintended playable areas. Fixed a bug that could cause items to transfer back to your own inventory when transferring from personal to remote with the T key. So this was a very annoying bug that was out there when they implemented their protection system on duping. So people on PC's transfer button was a bit screwed when you were transferring things quick over. They would come back into your inventory, so that problem shall be eradicated now. If you do still get problems like this, make sure you let the people know on the forums. But it should be fixed now, thank goodness, because that bug was very, very annoying. And they have also, which is wonderful news, adjusted, aka reduced the filer cost for cloning, so it should be cheaper now than it was before. And our final bug fix on here, they have fixed a bug with the grenade launcher where it sometimes wouldn't use all of its ammo. Now I did notice this in Genesis, especially when we were doing events such as the gauntlet ones, that it would do this kind of thing, so this is wonderful to hear as well. So now that's the PC patch notes out of the way, we will have a look at the console ones, because there is an absolute ton of them, as you can see. Now, most of these were actually fixed on PC beforehand, as usual, because they kind of do the test on there, and then they bring it over to console, as they usually would, because you have to have things a lot more optimized on console. So we have some of these things you might have heard before in previous videos, but they have been refined and then put into console. So you have all these different things, and there's absolutely a ton of things to go through. Oh my goodness me, this might take us a little bit of a while, but I will try and go through some of them that maybe might not interest you a little bit faster than the other ones, so I'll make it as easy to listen to as possible. So, starting off with the mechs, they have made a bunch of changes on these. So these are the mechs from Extinction. They have fixed a bug where the mech pistol could damage players mounted on a dino, so this won't be a thing anymore. They have also, with the pistol, reduced the damage to players by 85%, which is quite a large proportion of percentage there. Then they have also not only done that, they have reduced the range by 25%, so this is very interesting nerfs here. Then they have two prevented here, so they have prevented them being able to be stacked inside of each other, and they have also prevented them from being deployed in the VR missions. So those are the mech fixes we have here, and of course we have quite a few nerfs here, so that is, I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see how it plays out. And then we also have fixes to the Extinction Snow Owls, so you might not be too happy to hear about this, as, you know, a lot of Extinction creatures have been heavily nerfed to the point of uselessness. Then they have also affected Snow Owls in this patch as well. So I guess some PvP players might be happy to hear this, or they might be very unhappy to hear this, but it's a bit like a double-edged sword. On this one, they have made players recover 50% faster from the frozen state left by the Snow Owl dive. So you will be unfrozen a lot quicker now. They have also removed the Snow Owl's heal effect on enemy players and enemy-tamed creatures, but wild creatures will still be affected. And this sounds like a good patch to me, because you really don't want to be healing your enemy team. You really just want to heal your own team here, so this is a good patch that I'm hearing from me. Then they have reduced the Snow Owl dive, and they've made it a little bit slower, and they've reduced it by 2.5 seconds. So you probably won't really notice too much difference there. Then they have made a few changes with the balance and QOL settings here. So they have reduced the amount, this is on Genesis, they've reduced the amount of element received by red crystals. So those red crystals in the Magmasaur cave have been reduced by 33%. But they've increased the amount of materials harvested by the mining drill by 33%, so this kind of counteracts it a little bit here, since it's the same 33% on the reduction, so you might not really see much difference if you're using a mining drill there, especially if it's a good mining drill. They have also made a change on the tech shield. It now has a limited number of crafts, like other tech blueprints. Then they've made a change to Argentavises. They can no longer pick up smaller, wild, aggressive creatures in PvE. Now, this doesn't count if you've made the server setting to actually enable flyer pickup in PvE, so don't worry if you've changed those settings yourself, but if you're an official, then this will not be a thing for you anymore. And as well, now they have stopped the Ferox being able to be trapped with a bowler, so there's no more bowlering Feroxes, you've got to do it the difficult way. Then they have also reduced the cloning costs for the giant turtle, which is really nice, because, you know, that thing's pretty expensive, may I say. Big giant turtle. They have reduced the number of insect swarms in the bog biome by 25%. Some of you bog dwellers might be quite happy to hear about that, because insect swarms are one of my worst enemies in Genesis, I swear. They have also added a cooldown between green rain insect swarm spawns, so if you notice, the insect swarms actually come in really fast. Usually they spawn quite quickly after you've killed them. Then this has got now a cooldown on it, so you should see a few less insects in the bog. And then not only that, they have significantly reduced the frequency and slightly increased the duration of green rain in the bog biome. Moving over to the volcano biome, they have reduced the bat spawns in the main volcanoes, so there is a bunch of bats in this cave, and they could be a bit of a pest, so now they have reduced the spawn there. And as in the PC patch notes, in this one they have also added in reduced the turtle bubble blowing effect when above ground, so they have reduced that attack. And also with that, they have also added in the adjustment, so the reduced cost for phyla cloning. Now this is one for the people that like to use parasaurs. They no longer detect bodies that are not visible or rendered. So if people were hunting you out with parasaurs, then this has been changed. They have also improved the hover skiff movement and operation on steep terrain. And then they have also increased the placement radius check for ocean platforms to prevent them from being placed next to enemy foundations and platforms, which is good news to me. Next, we're moving on to a bunch of level, terrain, and environment fixes. They have actually fixed 100+ holes in terrain and level design across various maps, which is pretty crazy. It was well due on this. I'm quite glad they fixed those holes, and I hope they continue to fix map holes and meshing holes in the near future. They have also made several collision improvements for meshes on Aberration, which is also very great to hear because Aberration was one of those that came along at first and it did have a lot of meshing problems and map holes, so this is nice to hear as well. They have also fixed an issue with collision on several meshes. They have fixed several mesh holes in various biomes, and made adjustments in areas near the volcano to fix rare instances where eruptions would instantly kill players and dinos, so that one is on Genesis. They have also added additional kill volumes to unintended playable areas, so if you are going in areas that are not intended, then there will be extra volumes there. Then they have also modified the no build zone in the main volcano cave. Then finally, on the level information, they have adjusted the trajectory of the lunar comments to prevent edge cases of players and dinos dying. So those comments might be a little bit nicer now, hopefully. Then, oh boy, we have all these bug fixes. There is absolutely... woo! Look at all of those. That is a lot of bug fixes for you people on console, so hopefully these will fix a few things that have been annoying you throughout on console with the new release of Genesis, and maybe just across on other servers as well. They fixed an issue with tech durability that has prevented stat capping. The Magmasaur no longer takes damage from lava on the center, so if you didn't know on Genesis beforehand, the Magmasaurs you got from there and you transfer them over, the lava on different places used to actually really hurt the Magmasaur, so now that has been fixed around a bit on a few maps, aka the center, so you can now take your Magmasaur in the center in the lava. They have also fixed a mounting exploit with the Magmasaur. Then they have also fixed an issue with dedicated storage locking behavior on PvE. Players could withdraw items when it was locked, which is quite a serious offense, I'm not gonna lie. That is, I'm really glad they've patched that now, because that's pretty bad. Then they have also fixed a bug that allowed building within the boss arena on Valguero. Wow. Then they have fixed several missing notifications on Gather, Retrieve, Basketball, Hunt, and Escort missions, so these are mission fixes. They have fixed an exploit that allowed Ferox to clip inside enemy structures, so there'll be no more of that on console, and they have also fixed a bug where Ferox stacks were being re-rolled after the first time transforming. So what this bug was something to do with the damage. If it was certainly over the cap, then what would happen is a bug would occur where the stats would be re-rolled, so it'd be kind of wiped back to the level you found it, which was terrible. Then they have also prevented Ichthy from stealing cryopods, so there will be no more steely birds stealing your animals in cryopods away from you. Next, they have fixed a turret exploit with space whales. They have fixed multiple cases where the Bloodstalker couldn't swing around Extinction, so now it can. And they have fixed a damage exploit with the Ferox. Ferox should now keep its imprinting buff when in large form as well, and insect swarms now give chitin instead of hide, so you can use that for cementing paste. They have also fixed a rare case where the mining drill could damage the tech sensor, so this is not a thing anymore, and the activation-deactivation settings will now save on the tech alarm and the pressure plate. And then we're going back to the lava on several places again. They have fixed it damaging the Magmasaur, so that's on the island as well, and the Wyvern Trench in Scorched Earth. And again, the cryopods have been enabled back in the HLNA shop, so you can cryopod your dinos and keep them nice and safe on Genesis. They've also fixed an exploit with cruise missiles that allowed them to bypass turrets, so that's not a thing anymore. They've fixed an edge case that caused players to be destroyed when mounting an Equus and equipping its saddle. They fixed an issue that prevented players from receiving the mission buff in specific biomes, bog, ocean, and Arctic, and they have fixed the increased damage number in various biomes. They have also fixed an issue that would prevent players from connecting to OC servers, re-enabled configuration to prevent Reapers from being transferred to Genesis, so Reapers will not be coming to Genesis anymore, And they've also fixed a bug within the Moda or the Mudder boss fight from initiating correctly. They've also fixed several other bugs. This is a lot, I'm very sorry about this, but they have fixed a bunch of other bugs which have prevented players from seeing Primitive Plus servers. They have also done that other cruise missile fix from the PC version which stops them from detonating when you're firing it now, so that's all fixed up. And then they have also fixed a bug which prevented mechs from attacking structures. Again, we have the exploit fix for rock drakes and the fix for multiple server crashes and stalls. And then again, we have some of these things repeating in here from the PC patch notes of the giant turtle bubble blowing attack being fixed, and of course the unable to transfer ice and chalk golems. We've already seen this on the PC bit, so that is all fixed up there. Then they've also fixed a thing with the teleporting in Genesis, so when you are teleporting east in the bog biome, it will no longer transport the player southeast, so you'll actually be put in east now, so that's a nice teleport fix. And then the rest of these we've already read out, so that's already in console. And then finally, we have the MISC section of our patch notes. Alright, so they have made multiple improvements to the Hexagon Exchange UI, fixed a server crash, fixed some configuration issues with the dynamic rates on INI and non-standard official servers. They have fixed HLNA performance when crafting a large number of items. If you didn't know about this, when she crafts items, she flashes green every time, which can be very, very taxing on somebody's CPU or game. It can make the FPS drop quite harshly, so they have fixed that up. They have also improved the localization on the Rockwell boss fight and the end cutscene. They have enabled several performance-related issues tweaks on the Wild Astro Cetus, so this is the space whale. And they have improved the accuracy of the HLNA cardinal direction when teleporting. So when you were looking around before to find HLNA, sometimes she would move away, and it would be a pain in the arse because you couldn't select her, so that's what's been fixed there. Then another fix for the HLNA bot. The teleportation logic now tries to avoid turrets and non-allied players and hostile dinos. Then finally they have improved several visual components of mission UI, difficulty text, leaderboards, item lists, and mission notifications. Phew! That is all the patch notes. That is a lot to take in, so I hope you got the majority of that, because there is a lot of patch notes. But if you do want to reread them, make sure you do check out the description down below where you can read them in your own time, or you can always rewatch the video if that didn't quite go in, because there's a lot of patch notes, which is incredible. And I must admit, it is really nice to see some of these things being fixed up, and especially nice for the people on console getting these fixes as well, because some of these are absolutely vital fixes in here, which actually really needed doing. So you have these fixes now on both PC and console, which is very, very nice. The final message from me is, remember, there is still those really big sales going on. Xbox has unfortunately ended on the 20th, but there is still some time for Arc, Steam and PS4. So on the PS4 store, there is still a spring sale until the 29th of April, and you have about 70% off, which is a hefty chunk. So if you wanted some of those old DLCs like Extinction, etc., now is a really, really good time to pick it up. Then on the Arc Steam store, they also have their spring sale still ongoing until the 24th of April, and they have it up to 80% off, so that's pretty much the main game, and then it's a little bit less off on the actual DLCs they have. But Genesis is not included in any of these, so it's mostly just the older DLCs, so if you haven't picked it up, or the main game, or the collector's edition, now is a wonderful time to do so. But anyway, that is enough from me today. There has been a lot to go through, so there's been a lot of information, but I hope you've enjoyed the video all the same. All the important links will be in the description down below, so make sure you check them out. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!